How I structure my life as a working mum of 3. The simple systems that I follow that help me balance work, life, and kids. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Canna Campbell. I'm the founder of SugarMamma TV. So today I want to talk about the juggle of life and the simple things that I try and follow that help keep me afloat, help keep me sane. Now, by no means would I ever say that I'm slaying it in life and I've got everything like perfectly aligned, like not at all. But I often find that when the wheels fall off, which they occasionally do, often the reason why they've fallen off is because I didn't follow my system, my rules, my guidelines that really do help add value to my life. So what I want to do is share with you what I do, the way that I think about things, and why. And hopefully, if you're struggling to juggle things, some of these ideas may help you. And of course, if you have any ideas that you think might help me, I would love to hear from you. Now, before I begin, there's some key things I want you to understand about the systems that I follow. These systems are very much about protecting my peace, focusing on what actually really matters and what really needs to be done. And these systems are not built around the fantasy life that I'm trying to build, but really built around the real juggle of my life, what my responsibilities are, what my deadlines are, and of course, like what actually pays the bills. And most importantly, the systems that I've created are very much based around consistency. For me, things are consistent in my life. They are really easy to stick to. And when I'm patient, they really do help me so much. And everything I do, I really feel is very intentional. All right, let us begin. So the first thing that I do, and this is something you probably would have come across many times, so this is not reinventing the wheel here, but I get up at 5 a.m. I naturally wake up very early. I try and have lights, or be in bed by 9 p.m, but have lights off by 9:30 at the absolute latest. I love 5 a.m. because it gives me some time just back for me. I can sit on the sofa, have a homemade coffee with the dogs and just hear myself think. I normally tidy up the house before I go to bed, so the house is like really clean and tidy. There's no one interrupting me, and I can just have time for me to kind of plan my day, maybe clear some emails and just kind of get on top of things so that I'm not chasing the day. It's also a really sacred time for Tom and I because it means that we can have a coffee together, have a chat, talk about anything that's important before the kids like wake up and like the chaos, mess and destruction begins. So this has been very much a game changer, and whenever I've shared this with other people and they've done it themselves, they've said it has also changed their lives. Second thing that I do, and I think this is really valuable, is I guess stepping away from the scattergun approach. I try and focus on one key thing per day so that I can really get into the zone and really kind of, I guess, power through some very simple work and almost like batch my work. So as you may know, like I have a lot of sort of balls in the air. I have 2 podcasts, I do keynote speaking, I obviously have all my social media accounts, and I also work for Channel 9 on the Today Show.
Another analogy, swallow the frog first.
Oh,
do the least attractive thing first.
And I've also just finished writing my 3rd book. So there's a lot of different things that I'm going on, and I obviously create lots of different content for lots of different platforms. So the way that I try and juggle all of this and get stuff done consistently and ideally on time is I kind of batch focus. So for example, Mondays are very much dedicated only exclusively to creating podcasts for SugarMamma's Fireplay.
Yep.
Yeah, great, okay. Then on Tuesdays, I will focus on short form content, which includes creating obviously capsule wardrobe content. It includes creating investing content, financial independence content, budgeting content, and of course, content around like the juggle and reality of motherhood and what goes on behind closed doors in the chaos of my home. On Wednesdays, I don't technically work. So Wednesdays is my day with Tiger. She doesn't go to daycare that day, and we just kind of get to spend the whole day together. I take her to swimming lessons, and I kind of get to pretend I'm like a stay-at-home mum for the day. It's a really special day that we both absolutely love. Then on Thursdays, I really focus on my YouTube channel, reconnecting with my community, seeing what you guys want to, hear about and see. And then on Fridays, I focus on my writing, which includes, my Substack account, the courses that I create, and of course then planning the week ahead, and of course prepping for my segment on Channel 9. So by doing this, it means that I can really go deep focus. I'm not jumping and losing my distraction and concentration as I bounce between task and task. I go deep and focus on that one. And it actually has found has added a huge amount of efficiency in my life. Number 3 is very much around about my mindset. So if you ask most people, what days are the weekend, they'll just say, well, it's 2 days, obviously, Saturday and Sunday. But for me, no. For me, the weekend is actually bigger and longer than that. It starts at 3 o'clock on a Friday when I pick my middle child, Apple, up from school. That's when the weekend begins. And the weekend doesn't really end until Monday morning, 7 a.m. when my kids typically wake up. Now, by having this, approach to the weekend, it doesn't feel like I'm like dragging my feet during the week. I know the weekend is really close and it's so much longer, and it means I really do appreciate and value having that time off away from work and be able to spend time with my family, my friends, and making the most of every single hour of freedom we have over a weekend. And it really does help improve my mental health and my overall attitude and energy. Number 4, I plan for the reality of life. So as I mentioned, sometimes the wheels do fall off, like things naturally happen. Like today I've got both girls home sick. Tom has a flat battery for his car. Things obviously pop out of the blue, unexpected, like I've got a specialist doctor's appointment coming up that I need to plan for. Rocco's got a long day of school today, so I really try and plan ahead for the wheels falling off, for the reality of life and things not working perfectly, because that happens in real life. So for me, what does that actually look like? Well, number 1, it means always having emergency money. So if something goes wrong, I can quickly and easily fix it. It doesn't, create any destruction or damage to our budget or to our financial journey. It also means having like frozen meals put aside. So for days where I'm not feeling well or I'm time poor, something's happened out of my control, I've got something in the freezer that I can pull out and then pop into the oven, and we can sort of continue on with our day. It's the drama, the problem is kind of quarantined. Another great thing that I do, trying to, plan for the reality of life, is batching and stockpiling my work. It is very rare for me to have nothing ready to be published for the next week or even up to a next month. I always try and have content stockpiled. This is really important, and it's very much a golden rule that any successful content creator has, because they know that, time can suddenly evaporate, something can happen out of the blue, a family emergency, or they're not well and don't really feel like they're on their A game to be filming or recording content. So I always make sure that I have, you could say, support nets around me to catch me for when things fall apart, and so that I never need to let anyone down. I can always continue on being consistent in my content creation, which I think is very important foundation, for anyone in my type of work. Number 5, exercise. So for me, my mental health is quite fragile. And when I feel flat or down, I look at what's happened, why would I be feeling like this? Quite often the common denominator is I haven't been able to get to the gym or do some proper cardio sweating or, moving my body type of intensive workouts. So what I try and do, and this is probably the one, my weakest pillar of all, but one that I really do try and follow because it means so much to me, but scheduling in exercise. Now this, I will admit, is really hard because Tom actually lives between here and Hong Kong. So 50% of the time I'm actually solo parenting, which is very, very hard and has its moments where, I burst into tears. What I try and do is schedule it into my day. So there are days where it just doesn't happen. So to help catch myself, I guess is another form of perhaps a safety net, I have a few basic pieces of equipment at home if I can't get to the gym, and I'll show you what those look like, but I'm able to do some really simple workouts at home that actually do make a difference. And one thing I really noticed is when I did 75 soft last year, my body really did, I wouldn't say transform, but it really did toned up to something I hadn't actually seen before. And that's because I was doing a minimum of 25 to 35 minutes worth of exercise 6 days a week. So my body would actually prefer to do small amounts on a regular basis rather than doing really intense workouts. But my point is, I try and schedule some time each day to have exercise in there. And for the days where it's just not physically possible, there's not enough hours in the day, which is a reality of my life, what I try and do is make sure I get enough steps. So I aim to get between 8,000, ideally 10,000 steps a day. And what I have realized is by actually paying attention to my phone and checking my steps, if I'm say 2,000 or 3,000 steps lower than what I need to be, it actually is really quick and easy to get those steps up. So I'll make sure I go for a 20-minute power walk walk with the dogs, which is a really efficient use of my time because it means the dogs are getting some exercise and I'm getting my steps up in literally 20-25 minutes. So I'm trying not to drop the ball anywhere. Number 6 is I forward plan constantly looking at my calendar. So this is kind of like a torchlight approach, you could say. So I'm constantly looking at what is ahead of me, not just next week and the week after, but further beyond that. So making sure I'm aware of when school holidays are coming up, when we might be, say, doing a trip to Hong Kong for a long weekend, or particular, projects and deadlines that are coming up that might interrupt my workflow. So what I do is, by knowing that, for example, I've got school holidays coming up in 4 weeks, which will go for about 3 weeks, knowing that I need to do a little bit more, say 10 to 20% more of my workload each week, so that when the school holidays come, I'm not frantically, searching for things for my kids to go and do or putting them in front of a screen for a couple of hours. I know that I've actually created a healthier bank to get me through those periods of time. So I'm not on holiday, biting my nails thinking, oh my gosh, I'm just going to be, I'm going to come back to a huge amount of work to try and catch up on. I try and plan it and create it and have it all ready to go up front, so that when the school holidays come, or I'm getting on a plane, or I've got another project, an additional project to work on, my other workload is going to keep going. I've got the wheels in motion. The sooner you can get onto this and look further ahead, it means that work that you're going to, proactively create so that you're never having to catch up is that little bit smaller, because you're buying yourself time. It's kind of the same principle of investing earlier in life. Obviously makes building up financial freedom and independence that much easier. And number 7, review. I am always open to new ideas and suggestions and sources of inspiration to help run my life more efficiently and get back time in my day. I love hearing, when someone has a tip for me, or I love hearing what other people are doing behind their homes, whether they're using AI, whether they're using whiteboards, whether they're using, apps, what are the systems that they're using. And I think it's really important to look at the way that you're running your life and ask yourself, how could I be doing this better? What would be a more efficient use of my time? What is really a priority, and what am I putting on my list as maybe a distraction as to what really needs to get done, which is something I sometimes feel guilty too. All right, let me know if you liked this video. Let me know if you want to hear more, and of course, what do you want to hear about next week? As you know, my YouTube channel is back. I'm back every Sunday afternoon, and I'm really excited about connecting and being here for you. So if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe. Put your comments, your thoughts, your feelings in the comments box below, and I look forward to seeing you next Sunday afternoon. Ciao for now.